Welcome to Park Bench Interviews, hosted by Randy Goodman, Harvey Callis Real Estate, your real estate professional. Get to know our community, our businesses, products, and services that will elevate your life. Please welcome your hostess, Randy Goodman.
Hey everybody, it's Randy Goodman from Harvey Callis Real Estate, and I am super excited to be interviewing my friend, longtime friend, Bonnie Chan, who is a connections and empowerment coach, a co-author of Ignite Your Parenting, co-creator of Oliver Octopus Books series. I love it. Show it. Oh, wow. I love it. And I can't wait to hear all about that. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, Bonnie.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Randy.
Okay, well, I am really excited because you've done so many things, but tell us, what do you do now? And you can tell us the personal and professional, because you're showing us some personal stuff there too.
Yeah, for passion projects, right? I mean, I look at my life as like just a series of many projects. So professionally, I am a coach. I'm a connections and empowerment coach. A key piece that I love coaching into is self-love for everyone, but the people I typically work with are mom entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And I have a passion to influence moms because I know that, when the mom is powerful, they're influencing their kids. So,
absolutely.
Indirectly, I'm also coaching their kids.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, can you tell us a little bit about how does that work?
Yeah. How does what work?
How does it work? Like, how do you get to coaching moms and kids? Like, how does that happen? And how do they find you? What issue might they be having?
Yeah. So a lot of times when people come to me is that they, either know that they are lacking confidence, they're lacking self-love. They're seeing that themselves as being worn out, they're tired, and they're not putting themselves first. We've all, heard and maybe have used the analogy of being on an airplane and the oxygen mask. You always have to put the mask on first on yourself before you put it on your child, right? And a lot of times, including myself, we end up just naturally, I think it's a feminine motherly thing, we end up giving to everybody else, including the household, before we give to ourselves, right? So no wonder why, you end up lacking confidence and have the negative self-talk that shows up before you can show up. So a part of the process is actually identifying those limiting beliefs. And then we work on shifting those limiting beliefs, because guess what? When we have limiting beliefs, who does it get passed to? Our kids, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, that when the mom or when the entrepreneur is shifting those beliefs and become, the most authentic, powerful versions of themselves, they're also shifting their language with their kids.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't have an idea of how to shift that and how to change that. And so it's,
it's been a huge journey for myself, and now I can catch it much faster, right? Whereas before, I was literally numb, didn't even, it's that blind spot, it's
well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that part soon, but I love that, there's a lot of people out there who are I grew up and I didn't really feel good about myself, and this is the kind of mom that I am, and I don't want to be this kind of mom, but I really don't have a clue how to be anything else. And it's nice to know that they have somebody they can reach out to who can help them on that journey and be able to grow themselves, but also help their kids at the same time, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I love that. Thank you, Bonnie. So you're also a co-author of Ignite Your Parenting and Oliver Octopus book series. So can you tell us about, first of all, why are you writing books in the first place?
I really actually don't love to write. That's the honest truth. And what I'm really present to are all the books that have made a difference for me in my life.
Okay.
You know, like I am one who doesn't love to write. And actually, I never grew up reading a lot as a child. I wish I did. I wish I did. So, you know, now I encourage my kids to read as much as possible. But it was later on in my life, I'm going to say, you know, maybe like high school, university, where I started picking up personal development books.
Mm-hmm.
And just one distinction can completely shift something.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm like, you know what? I could also help somebody by sharing my message and my story through a book, because I can only talk to so many people at one time, right? But through a book, you know, you actually have leverage. People can hear your story, your message, and all of that. I mean, you know, you know the benefits of being in a book.
Yes. Yeah, and I love that. And you know, but your books you're gearing to parents, but you're also gearing to children.
Yeah.
Right? So where did that passion come from? Like, why did you want to write books? Because it's kind of, you know, people kind of stick to one niche typically, right? Where they'll only talk to the parents, or they'll only write children's books. So what brought on the two ends?
It's a personal desire. So a little story about the children's books. I didn't write them. That's why, you know, I call myself a co-creator of them. So my husband, he's actually an accountant. And what happened was a few years back, we continually do personal development, personal transformation workshops, as well as like business development type workshops. And Aaron at that time did a weekend training on the work of Napoleon Hill. So, you know, for those of you who don't know Napoleon Hill, he's the author of a very famous book called Think and Grow Rich from the 30s. And this is like the go-to book for all self-development people. And so he came back from that workshop, and then I've never taken the workshop myself. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, you know, what did you learn? And at that time, my kids were, you know, probably like 3 and 6. This is a few years back now. And it was near bedtime. And they're like, it's bedtime. We want our bedtime story. So Aaron basically imagined a story and then incorporated what he learned into the story.
Nice.
And we both looked at each other. We're like, hey, that was actually really good, right? and then that seed came into my mind. I'm like, hey, you know, what if we create a series, a book series, introducing Napoleon Hill concepts to kids?
Right.
So that was the idea. And, you know, I'm someone who loves to make things happen. I think it's the entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
So, you know, gathering my resources and looked for the right people, the right team to make it happen. Wow. So my husband wrote the stories, and then I just put the team together to make it happen. And now we have the 3 books introducing Napoleon Hill concepts to kids.
I love that. I love that, in a fun way that the kids would understand. And wow. So then when they actually go and read that book later on, when they're a little bit older, they're going to be like, we already knew all this, Mom.
Exactly.
Dad.
They're already like that now.
Okay, so tell us what led you to becoming an empowerment coach. And I know you've built a huge networking business and whatnot. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah. Again, you know, my personal journey, right? So I'm originally from Vancouver, BC, and I did the whole business bachelor degree from university. I actually have a marketing background, and ended up in the corporate world, and through the corporate world, got transferred to Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how you know, that was the beginning of my professional journey. And throughout that time, that's when I actually learned about the power of networking and relationship building. And I also have always had that entrepreneurial spirit. So even in my corporate jobs, I always had a side something,
Right.
a side hustle of some sort, you know, from wedding photography. We had a wedding photography business.
Really?
To like, you know, I was in financial services at one point.
Okay.
And then eventually I was like, hey, you know what? All the thread, that common thread between all of it, what is the thing I love the most, which is connecting with human beings and developing relationships and being of service.
Right.
So, you know, my journey went into teaching the art of networking. Started with immigrants, started with, you know, immigrants and how to network for work.
Right.
And then as I shifted to becoming a mom myself, I wanted to do something where, you know, I'm working with people that resonates in the world of entrepreneurs. So shifted to the entrepreneurship. And then I realized as I'm working with different clients and teaching them networking skills, there was an aha moment that it actually starts with the core, right? With self. It's like, okay, you know, yes, I can teach you all the, you know, the methods to where to meet people, how to meet people, how to do a handshake, how to make eye contact. And there's a missing if you're not loving the inside of yourself. Right. So if you don't even want to meet yourself, then that's actually the first step. So that's when I really got into, you know, let's start with the empowerment piece first, like being really confident with yourself.
I love that. You know, and I remember the days when you were doing all these workshops and whatnot. Well, you're teaching networking and I'd be teaching networking and I'd be just like, I love what Bonnie's doing. You know, I love that. But I love how you took it, you know, inside. And I think that's like a transition that I'm seeing quite a bit with people where they're teaching the doing, right? And then it becomes deeper than that as they have their own self-growth. It becomes more of, okay, it's great to be the doing, but what's going on behind the doing, right?
Yeah,
what's going on inside?
It's the whole like being, like who are you being?
Exactly.
In your community, right?
Yeah. And I love how you took that inner. So now when they're doing the doing, right? They're doing it from a place of self-love or from a place of confidence or from a place of however they've improved on who they were before, right? And became more solid in that. And now when they go out into the world, their doing part is that much more meaningful and effective.
Exactly. And the doing part is like the 20%, right? The 80% is really, you know, becoming the best version of yourself that you're proud of to show up as.
I love that. I love that. Okay, that's awesome. So you also love to give back. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, giving back is, I think it's as a part of the fundamental of networking and connection skills is actually always thinking, you know, where can I give? Yeah, so I love, you know, a book that I love is actually called The Go-Giver. Okay. I don't know if you know that one, Randy. That's a good book. Okay. The Go-Giver. So yeah, if you're looking for a next book to read, Go-Giver. In terms of contribution, I personally like to contribute in terms of like not-for-profits or charities or initiatives. I love to contribute to people that I actually know. So like locally here in Toronto, I personally know a few friends who have their own organizations or they work for an organization. So I love having that relatedness that, you know, here's, for example, I have a good friend named Doina, and she started something called a charity called Hervolution, where it's empowerment for young women who may not have the resources at a young age to teach them the world of STEM, right? engineering, mathematics, technology, that whole thing. Yeah, so I love that, you know, it was one of her core values in bringing, and her passion, and she, you know, now it's an official charity. And I love to be able to like help my own friends who has these amazing projects. One we both know is $1 Million Smile, which I love as well. I know that Randy and I both have built playgrounds for kids that have illnesses. So same thing, right? It's someone we know who's doing something amazing, and how can I, you know, lend my muscles and my resources and reach out to my community to give back, really very locally. That's what I love to do.
And I think, Bonnie, that comes back to mental income, because you want to help people that you know and you love and you respect, and you get to actually see the effects of that, which makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When we write a check, it's like, okay, we know we're helping, right? We don't know exactly where every penny is going.
Exactly.
We know we're helping. But when you do something for someone you know, or a charity you know, or something you're fond of, or somebody you're fond of, you know, it all of a sudden it just makes you feel so good that you made them feel good because you were supporting them. And
yes,
you know, it's just like, just
and there's that like that hidden, you never know, ripple effect. And we know that there is a ripple effect, but we have no idea where that ripple effect has gone to. Right. And that's something like really exciting to me. I'm like, okay, I know that, you know, I've spread some kindness just by showing up to build this playground for these 2 kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, just people learning about it, it could have an impact on them. Just hearing about, you know, us volunteering.
Exactly. Yeah. And you did something good and you feel good about it. And that's all that matters, is that you were able to give back to somebody or something in this world. So I love that. Thank you. So exactly. Bonnie, do you have any tips or suggestions for people before we sign off?
Yeah, well, you know, I often talk about staying high vibe. Like, staying high vibe is important to just thriving on a daily basis, right? So a tip that I give every one of my clients is always have dance breaks. So have your like favorite music ready and like throughout the day, like you can do it anywhere, right? You can be outside, you can be inside, you can be, you know, at your desk. Yeah. And it could take like 3 minutes, play your favorite music and like start dancing like no one's watching. So important to like raise your vibe. You just become more productive and you know, you feel good. I love like that. What you talked about.
I love that.
Raise your vibe through dance breaks. It doesn't cost anything.
And how many dance breaks should we take in a day?
Ooh, good question. Well, I'm gonna say minimum 1, because I'm gonna assume that most people are not doing minimum 1. Right. But let's go with, you know, 3 times would be a great starter point to really raise your vibe.
I love
you know,
that.
Like go with the morning, afternoon, you know, evening, right? And even better, bonus is do it with your family, even if they're rolling their eyes.
That's so funny, because the friend that I did this grade 8 trip with the kids, she used to do that with their kids all the time. They would play instruments though, so they would do their own music.
Amazing.
The kids would play an instrument. They'd be on the coffee table dancing, having a blast, and it's just like, oh my God, it looks so much fun.
Awesome. Yeah, highly recommend it. Like, let me know how it goes.
So tell us, just to add to what you're saying, how does it raise your vibe? Like, what are the actual effects? Like, why do you choose dance versus something else? What is it that dance is doing
Well,
Absolutely.
what I love about dance is, it's like senses, right, that we're dealing with. So I'm asking you to like play your favorite music. So you're like listening to something that already lifts you up without moving.
Right.
And we all know that exercise is like good for you, right? The oxytocin and all the, just moving your body is great, right? So dancing is physically so beneficial and mentally so beneficial. And it's also, like the chiropractor or doctor, they're always like, oh, you gotta like do stretches, especially when you're in front of your computer a lot. So again, you're giving your body a break and like reminding your body that you care. It's part of self-love. Dance breaks is part of self-love.
I love that.
There's so much research around, dance and your brain, in terms of the benefits from the brain, in terms of like memory. It's apparently really great for people with dementia or Alzheimer,
Wow.
right? So it's like preventing all that stuff, right?
Wow. I love that. And they tell you, like, especially for those of us who might be sitting on the couch or sitting in a chair or sitting in front of the computer all day long, that at least like set an alarm and at least every hour get up and do something for 5-10 minutes.
You might as well shake your booty to the water, to your water, your cup of tea.
I love that. And I know how it makes me feel, like if I'm playing some wicked music in the car and I'm going at it or whatever, right? And singing away, you can't dance that much, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Then when I come home, it's like, I don't want to stop. I want to
like we're like talking about it and I just want to dance.
I love that.
I'm just like ready to dance, just talking about it.
So instead of
and doesn't it feel good, like talking about it? Like yeah. I feel like my vibe just got risen.
Yeah, and so instead of like going for a walk or going for whatever, go dance. Like even take it outside.
Totally, 100%. Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. So how can people get a hold of you? How can they find you, Bonnie?
Yeah, the best way to find me is look up Coach with Bonnie on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Coach with Bonnie. That's the best way to find me. Is there an opportunity is there a description for this interview?
Yeah, we're gonna.
I also have another tool that I use with my clients are vision boards. So I also have a free vision board prep workbook that I could offer to your community.
Oh, please do. Yes. So we'll definitely put the link for that. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. And we will have all your social media links, your everything that you want to share on the page. So you guys out there, you don't even have to search for Bonnie. You'll be able to click and find her. So don't worry about that. You can definitely find her easily. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for being on with me.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you for listening to this interview hosted by Randy Goodman. We hope you will take action and connect with the incredible business people and leaders in our community. And remember, Randy is always here to answer any questions you have regarding your real estate needs. Be sure to register on the website and stay up to date on what's happening in your area at parkbench.com/millpond.